When things change inside you, things change around you. Welcome to our Valentine's Day episode, and today you're going to meet life coach and author Connie Henriquez Kimmel, and she's going to teach us how to start loving life. Don't move, we'll be right back. And we're back with Connie. Welcome, Connie.
Oh my God, woman, first of all, I am so excited to be here.
Yeah.
I love your set. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I feel like I just met you like 2 days ago.
I
Meanwhile,
know.
you've gone so far.
I know.
I'm so proud of you, dude.
Well, it's so amazing to be here with you. First of all, you're a beautiful and special friend, and you're gorgeous, first of all, let's be honest. And you're in my favorite color. It's Valentine's Day. Honestly, it couldn't be any better than this. And to think that I was on your show just a couple of years ago, that was my first TV appearance, was on your show. So look how, like, the world works. And I remember coming on your show, and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my God, I've never been on TV. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? And now here we are. So
and here you are. Now you're a pro. Come
you're
on.
an author. You're a life coach. What about you?
Lots of stuff have changed.
A lot of things have changed. All good things.
All good things. First of all, I just want to thank you because today is like one of the first days I got dressed in like 8 months. Seriously, I've been in track pants, Vans high top sneakers, and a Start Loving Life t-shirt. That's been my gear for like 8 months.
Totally get it. If it wasn't for the show, I would be the same way.
Exactly. So, all right. So I got dressed up today. I did get married, so I did wear a wedding dress on that day. But other than that, it's been kind of low key. So
I know, we're going to talk about that wedding in a little bit. But I know a lot of our viewers want to know about how to start loving life, right? It's Valentine's Day. It's all about love.
It's all about love.
So we're going to talk about love in career, love in relationships. So I have a question for you.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Did you always love life?
No, of course not. Right? Don't you need something to happen in life to kind of trigger you to like make a change?
Absolutely.
So I was like most people in the sense that I had a career. I did really well for myself really young. On the outside, I looked like I had it all. You know, I was successful, I made money, but yet I always felt like something was missing. And it was weird because people would look at me, and when I would complain and I would whine about how I wasn't happy, people thought I was nuts. My family thought I was nuts. My friends thought I was nuts. And I'm like, no, you just don't get it. I have all this stuff, but yet I'm not thrilled. I'm overworked. I'm stressed out. I'm worried about what my boss thinks about me, what my company thinks about me. You know, I'm only as good as my last success. It was like a constant struggle in my brain about me and who I was. And I remember I was 25 and I was like, I have to do this until I'm 65? Is this what life's about? Like, what is that? So I remember just, you know, living the rat race of life, and thank God the universe or God, and I'm not even religious, but thank God someone heard my cry because certain events happened. I started to read self-help books, and
Those are the best books, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yes, but I wish I had that as a kid. Well, there was one sentence that really stuck out, and it was that your thoughts create your reality.
So true.
And I was like, wait, did I just read that right? My thoughts create my reality? Wait, so it wasn't the grades I got in high school. It wasn't living up to other people's expectations. It wasn't making my parents happy. It wasn't what my boss thought about me. It's what I think about me, and I'm the one that's super hard on me.
Right.
I try to be perfect. You know, I'm self-critical, right? Like, I was doing everything wrong. And so when I started to realize that, I was like, wow, these self-help books, they have some pretty good information. So I remember Borders bookstore.
Yes.
Okay, so I used to go to Borders like every night. I delved into the self-help books. I started reading, and I started to learn different tips and tricks that I started to apply to my own life. And I started to see my life change. I started to see me change. So even though originally I was in a job I didn't love, I realized it wasn't the job, it was me. It was how I was viewing the job.
Right.
And so I started to realize I had way more control over my life than I even knew. So as I started to change my life, I started to be happier, I started to be more confident. I didn't care what people thought about me because I liked me. It didn't matter. So as I started to evolve and change, I started to get to the point where I was like, people need to know this. And it wasn't even hard. It really was not hard. I said, people need to know that this is possible. So many people are resigned to their life sucking.
Right, they just settle. And
Yeah.
like, this is it, and I'm just going to take it, right?
Right, or they settle. And it's not because they don't want to change, it's because they don't even know it's possible. And what's so amazing about Start Loving Life, which is the company I formed as a result of going through...
Perfect name.
Right, through this personal change, was that I wanted people to know it didn't matter about your past, your childhood, your parents. Everyone has the ability to start loving life now. And it's not hard. It's actually much easier than you think. And so I was in the cosmetic industry at the time, and I created my business on the side, which was Start Loving Life, and I started coaching people. I started coaching executives like me. And I started to see what an impact it would have. And so that's kind of the origination of Start Loving Life. It was me being stressed out, overworked, thinking that that's what life's about, working for the weekends or working for a retirement, which is torture. That's a long time.
Yeah.
LJ, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
So I started Start Loving Life, and that's my coaching business that I do now. And if I could throw up everything I know about life on everyone so they can feel how amazing life could be, I wish I could. And that's how passionate I am about it.
That's truly amazing. I know I had a session with you, and right
That's
after
right. That's right.
right? I was like, oh my God, I got to try this. And you
Right.
gave me, just out of that one session, you gave me a lot of confidence, because I could speak for a lot of people. I think we do self-criticize, we doubt ourselves. You know, we do think what other people are thinking. Like, we wonder what other people are thinking, excuse me. And we judge ourselves. We think, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? And it does happen. So if we can get out of that mindset, it can completely change.
Right.
So there's going to be someone who's going to comment on that picture that's on social media, like, what the hell is she wearing, or what does she think she's doing? So, right? I know we had a lot of discussions, so it's true. But once you start to love yourself, everything else kind of just is everything else.
And you were a perfect example, and you were just like me in the sense that, again, you're very successful. You're an amazing medium.
Thank you.
But even as a person, it's easy to question yourself and to doubt yourself. And when you think about it, and this is really the two foundations to Start Loving Life. It's going to sound really cheesy and simple, but this is really the truth. It's learning how to start to love yourself. And it's funny because sometimes I'll say that to someone and they get a little like offended, and they're like, well, I love myself. And I say, of course you love yourself. But when you look in the mirror, are you looking at how amazing you look, or are you looking at the 5 pounds from the pandemic? You know, when you finish a project at work, are you saying like, that's going to be spot on it? Or are you thinking, what is my boss going to think? And so it's about how many times, it's really about the self-talk, what you're saying to yourself day in and day out that you don't even realize. So it's about really learning how to love yourself fully and being your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader, and knowing you're going to mess up. It's life. But be kind to yourself. And then the second part is, how do you start loving life? How do you look at life in a more positive way? How do you react to things in a more positive way? How do you look for the best in everything? And I think, and this is what's been so amazing about the last year, is because it's a perfect example of, we're in a pandemic, things changed. I've been dating Jeff for 5 years. We live together. Our social life has been so busy for the last 5 years with his law events, the date night show events, my business. And the pandemic was the first time that instead of going out every night, it was, we were inside. And it was, well, all right, well, what are we going to work on now? And we wrote a book together.
Amazing.
And now, you know, writing a book is a lot. It's a lot of work. But the pandemic allowed us to be home, not going out partying, which I do prefer, but it allowed us to write the book. And it allowed us to work on projects that I know for me, I've been putting off because I like to go out and party. So it forced me to stay in. And so the pandemic allowed us to look at life in a very different way. And so I think it's really about making the best of everything. And
Right.
we can't control certain outside conditions as much as we wish we could, but we can control ourselves and what we're able to do to maximize whatever that looks like.
And I love that you said that. That's truly amazing, because whether we've been given time, and I know everybody's coped and dealt with, COVID completely different.
Yeah.
But those, you were given this opportunity and this time, and that's truly amazing. And congratulations on your new book, right? Because a lot of times it's like, wait a minute, we're in quarantine with our spouse. Like, oh my God. And you actually, a lot happened. You wrote the book together. So we're going to take a short break in just a minute, but I want to go dive into how you worked together. I know you had different perspectives on the book.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you got married in quarantine as well. So I want to get to that part as well. So we'll be right back. Don't move.
Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration.
And we're back with Connie Henriquez, or I should now say Mrs. Kimmel.
Oh my God, isn't that so funny?
Congratulations on your wedding. How did you guys meet, and how did it lead up to getting married in quarantine?
Well, I met Jeff 5.5 years ago, and I will say at the time, I think I was about 38. And the reason why I say my age, because I don't think age matters at all.
No.
But there are so many people, girls specifically, and men as well, that feel as if they have to get married early. And if they don't, or they haven't been married yet, like something's wrong. And so I always feel like things happen in perfect timing when you're ready. And my biggest thing wasn't rushing anything. And it's funny because growing up, my dad is from Argentina. And so he came here, didn't know any English, learned everything here, worked a million jobs so he can support our family. And I remember growing up, he always drilled into my head and my sister's head, always make sure you become something of yourself, be self-sufficient, make your own money, and never rely on anyone. Mm-hmm. So that got me so focused on building myself, building a career, and establishing myself first. As annoying as it was growing up to hear that, it was the best advice ever. And this is what I teach in Start Loving Life in my coaching. It's about being self-sufficient. So for me, that was really important. I wanted to have a really successful career. I wanted to have my own money. I wanted to buy my own house. So it wasn't until I did that, and I've had relationships before, but that I was really ready, and really ready to meet someone who was very similar to me. And so at the time, just like the advice I give everyone, like get out there, make your life big, pretend you're not going to meet anyone, and what would your life look like? Don't wait for your prince, to come, because he's not coming. Like, be the queen, own your life.
Right.
And so I had my career, I had my business on the side. I was just starting a TV show with Chrissy, my friend, Date Night TV, and we had that idea, and it was in the very early planning stages. And I remember I said to my sister, Nat, I need an intro video for the television show. And it was a very grassroots, we did it here locally on Long Island. And so I remember my sister, who owns a very big HR consulting company, and she works with law firms and different companies. And she said, I have a client who's a managing partner of a law firm. He is really good with video. In fact, he used to write screenplays before he was a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
So she said, I'm going to set up like a meeting for us. And I remember when I met him, I was very intrigued because he was very reserved. But as I got to know him, you could tell he was brilliant. He was really funny.
Aww.
But his demeanor, I just knew that there was something there. First of all, he was going to do my video, which I was like, oh, that was really sweet. But there was something about him that I definitely wanted to know more about him. And so after that, we connected. We went on our first date. And what's so funny is my sister Nat says now, and she said after the fact, she wanted to set us up. And the more I got to know him, the more I fell in love with him. Aww. And it's so crazy because even 5 years, 5.5 years later, I love him more now and every day. And it's like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Is he blushing in the audience?
He should be blushing.
It's an example of we have to start somewhere, meaning you started somewhere. You knew that you wanted to make a change. You were not happy in the career that you were in, and you did that first. And then love found you. So that's truly amazing. And now here we are in quarantine.
Yeah.
You get married. And then you wrote a book together.
Yes.
So some people can't even stand in the same house together, yet alone now you're writing a book together. So how did you do that process?
He had the idea about the book. And Jeff is a managing partner of Salinger, Sack, Kimmel, and Bavaro on Long Island, which is a law firm. And so for years, he's done lectures and he's educated other lawyers on different ways to prep for trial and just different things. And so, and like I said, he used to write screenplays, so he's an amazing writer. And so he came to me with the idea and he said, you know what? I'm thinking about writing a book to help other people create a law firm, because in law school, they don't teach you how to create a business. They just teach you the law, right? So he said, I want to write this book, and what do you think? And I was like, that's an amazing idea. I said, but don't forget, you teach the practical sense of how to build a firm, but you have to teach the mindset behind it. So it's one thing to be successful, but it's another thing to be happy and successful. And so we're having this conversation, and he goes, well, you should write the book with me.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yes. He's like, you write it from your perspective. And, and the chapters are pretty much the same. So I write from my perspective, my Start Loving Life perspective. And he writes from his analytical, step-by-step, specific instructions. And so that's how we did the book. And yeah, like that's our baby. That's our first baby.
What lawyers don't know, how to run a business and start loving life.
Right.
I think that's perfect because it's true. I think you need to love life, but also be successful, but happy. Because how many times you hear people, they have a great job, but then things at home aren't great, or they have a great marriage, but then they're not happy doing what they're doing.
Right.
So I do want to ask you, I mean, this is all great. And I want to know, and for our audience too, what tips do you have for us that we can start loving life right now?
Oh, that's good. All right. So LJ, the first thing, and this is what I want everyone to understand, it really starts with your self-talk and being aware of how you don't realize what you say to yourself, or how you're hard on yourself, or how you're trying to live up to an expectation that's not your own. And so it's really the first part and the hardest part, really, but once you get it down, it becomes much simpler. It's the awareness of what you're saying. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, it's the awareness of what you're talking about. How many people do you know love to complain?
Oh, all the time. Everyone complains.
Right. How many people do you know love to focus on the negative stuff, on their medical ailments, on what's going on in the world that we cannot control?
Yes.
So it's really about understanding that you're in way more control over your life. And the more you talk about negative stuff, the more you're going to perpetuate that. So it's kind of like, you attract by how you feel.
Yes.
And if you're complaining, you're not feeling good, which means you're not going to attract good stuff.
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction.
Right,
so.
which is exactly the same thing. If you do your best, and I know it's not always easy depending on what you have going on in your life, but if you do your best to focus on what is going well for you. Maybe your job doesn't pay you what you want, but maybe you could pay your bills. Maybe it's not where you want to be forever, but maybe you could appreciate that you have a job now.
Right.
So it's about looking for the little things that you can appreciate, because the more you can and the more you do that, the universe or God or whatever you believe in can give you more. And it's as simple as that. And you can start today. It doesn't matter about last week, last year, your childhood, your parents. You can start today, and it's just being more mindful of how you're thinking.
And I totally agree with you, because I think a lot of times we can focus on what went wrong today rather than what went good today. And it's funny because I woke up this morning and not realizing, I know you were going to be the third taping. I'm like, I'm not going to focus on technical difficulties today, and I'm not going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on everything that's going right today. Right. So thank you so much for, you know, being here and sharing that. And I'm so glad you're loving life and that you're married and you're happy and healthy, most importantly. So I just want to tell you a couple things, as you are a very special friend.
So
First of all, some beautiful pink roses for you. I know you love pink. And
my favorite color.
Some homemade wine by your favorite Tom, my dad.
Wine I love to drink. Thank you.
And then on top of that, for you and Mr. Kimmel.
Oh, what else? What more can you give me?
I want you guys to have a nice romantic date night. So you got some Mr. and Mrs. wine glasses, a little gift card in here.
I love it. That's
and
so
some other fun
sweet.
stuff for the place. And just to
LJ.
start and enjoy loving your
You're
newlywed
so
life.
sweet.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're always doing date night. Now it's, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna take a short break and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration.
And now it's time for Ask LJ. That's right, it's time for Ask LJ. So some of our audience members and our viewers sent in some questions that they'd like to know about me. So let's see what they want to know. As a minister and a psychic, can you tell if a marriage is going to work or not? Ooh, okay. So yes, I can actually, and I do have to be two different people. So as a psychic or a medium, I'm one person, and as a minister, I'm another, okay? There's two different aspects to it. So yes, I've had couples come to me who I officiate the weddings for, and I can feel if it's right or not right, but at the end of the day, it's not really my decision to make that. I'm not going to say, hey, I don't see this working out for you. It's for them. However, I will tell you a quick story. I did have a couple come to me once, and they walked into my house, and I do an interview prior to agreeing to do the wedding, and they came in, and I could just tell. I was like, oh my gosh, they must have gotten into like an argument before even coming here, and it just didn't feel right for me, because especially when I said, oh, how did you get engaged, and the groom-to-be says, well, which time? So it was just a little bit awkward and a little tense, and so I didn't feel comfortable doing the wedding. But again, I didn't say for those reasons. It was just that something else came up the day of the wedding, and I actually just referred them to somebody else because I just didn't feel comfortable for it. So I can tell if it's going to work or not. It's just not up to me to tell the person if it's going to work or not. And again, sometimes we see things that they're not going to work out, but if people work hard at it, they could still make it work. But I obviously have to have a connection with the couple that I'm going to marry prior to. So yeah, great question. Thank you. And now we're going to go into the mediumship part of the show. So I do want to work with a female that I feel stepping forward. And what stands out about her is her reddish hair. So I do feel it's like really red hair. She has fair skin. When she takes me to her hands, she keeps bringing me to her wedding ring, and I almost feel like they would have been stackable type of wedding rings. And also what she shows me about her hand as well is she shows me that there would have been some arthritis. So when I see her fingers in her hands, I do see that we had some curvature. Her nails are beautifully polished, but I do see we would have had some arthritis in her hands as well. And I know that she would have been a woman of faith as well, because I see that she would have worn either a cross or some type of religious symbolism on her neck as well. And she was someone who would have loved to go to the beauty parlor. I feel like we would have taken trips to the beauty parlor. And she was definitely a baker and someone who would have loved to be in the kitchen. So she's whipping out a wooden spoon. I'm like, not the wooden spoon. So I do feel either that's her symbol for being Italian, but I do see I keep seeing lots of recipe cards. So I know we would have cooked, and I know we would have baked. And I know that she wants to acknowledge a son. So again, this could be a motherly or grandmotherly energy, but I do know that she would be acknowledging a son, and she also wants to acknowledge a grandson as well. Okay, so you could understand everything that I've brought through, or was there something that just didn't quite fit?
But you're right there. You're very close.
Can you tell me what you can understand?
The Italian part,
Mm-hmm.
the red hair, very, go to the beauty parlor type person, son and grandson.
Perfect. Would you understand someone building a house or reconstructing a house?
Yes.
Okay. And would you understand the baking and the cooking and the wooden spoon and all the recipes?
Yes, only that she wasn't the baker and the cook. I am.
You are. Okay,
Yes.
so, I'm just going to reference you. So it wasn't her, it would have been you?
Right.
Okay, so you're the baker and the cook as well.
Yep.
And you have a lot of recipes?
Yep.
Okay, so it might be just her way of acknowledging you. So I just want to work with you for a minute. So you're the baker, the recipes, you're also rebuilding and reconstructing the house as well. And I also feel, because I just want to go back to the cooking, because this person's making me feel very strong to Sunday dinners, or we would gather together for dinner.
Well, of course, yeah, that's part of the Italian thing. We
Okay,
did that
perfect.
for decades.
And yep, and would you understand, why do I feel like I'm going into a basement? So I don't know, is this a basement in your home, or there would be a basement that we would have spent some time in?
I live in a basement apartment in the house.
Okay, you live in a basement apartment in the house, and then now you're also, is this the same house that we're building and reconstructing?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. And would you understand the male with her in spirit? And I do feel that this male being military, and this man would have been connected. This is the feeling I feel like I want to bring through a male in the military would have been connected to her.
Yeah, my father, her husband, was a Marine.
Okay, wonderful. And I also keep feeling I want to acknowledge, so I feel like she would have either had brooches or pins, but I also feel like I want to go to military pins. And I also keep seeing pins from the military, so I know that we would still have this in the family.
Yes.
Okay, but would there have been some calluses connected to his hands?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just keep feeling someone who, what he shows me, would have been hard worker, working with his hands and
Right.
showing me calluses. Because I almost feel like I do two things. I come and I change, and I come and so I feel like we did one job and we might have had change to do something else, is the feeling that I keep getting. So I just feel like maybe that was something he would have done on the side as well. And I also feel like they keep making me come to you, and I feel this is more on a personal level. They're making me feel like you've done a 360. So from the time that they were here, I feel like you've changed and you've transformed so much. Would you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just feel like I want to acknowledge your change and your transformation, and I just want to acknowledge that just keep working hard as well, and I just want to bring love and blessings to you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And now it's time for a giveaway with LJ, and our first giveaway is going to be from our beautiful guest today, Connie's book, and her husband, What Lawyers Don't Know, How to Run a Business and Start Love in Life, and she's going to sign it for you after the show. And the winner is Laurel DeTore. Congratulations, Laurel. You can get your gift after the show. Our next one is going to be for a facial with my girl, Trisha. All my skincare is through her, so you're going to love her. Michelle Pristina. Congratulations. And finally, we have a beautiful self-care basket. Lots of goodies, gift card to go get your hair done, some meals by the Enlightened Colonist to go to get shipped to your house, lots of bath and fun stuff just to really soak in your alone time. And the winner is Debbie. I'm not going to pronounce the last name. Debbie S. Congratulations. Thank you for tuning into our Valentine's Day special. I hope you loved it. I want to thank my guest, Connie, and I want to thank everyone for our beautiful self-care giveaways. And I want you to know, and Connie wants you to know too, that you can start loving life right now. And I just want to end with one of my favorite quotes. Live the life you love the life you live. I'm LJ. Love and blessings. See you next week.